Have you ever read stories with characters that resemble people we see in our daily lives? What if those stories were set in the 1960s but still reflect the progressive thinking of our modern days? Well, that's how today's episode is going to be. Hello everyone, welcome back to BooksDotCom Litgyan, where we have yet another Tamil book to discuss, which is none other than The Heroine and Other Stories by ace storyteller Jayakanthan, or JK as he is popularly known. Jayakanthan started writing in the 1950s, and his works stood out for he consistently spoke about the travails of the underclass, including women. Scented with the sweetness of jasmine and freshness of coffee, placid and unruffled on the surface, these stories tell us how bold and straightforward Jayakanthan's thoughts were and reverberate with a deep vein of psychological drama. Perhaps no Tamil writer has been as celebrated and simultaneously scorned as JK. Either way, he has inspired strongest of emotions in his readers and fellow writers. This book is a collection of 10 stories and one novelette, originally written in Tamil, translated by his daughter J. Deepalakshmi. To pick just 11 stories out of his staggering list of works would have been a daunting task, but Deepalakshmi seems to have pulled off with the finesse of a translator and affection of a daughter. The collection contains remarkable stories of ordinary men and women living in Tamil patriarchal society. They are weaved around feminine mind, families and friendship, and are thick with old world charm of R.K. Narayan's Malgudi days, and serve as a constant reminder to read more of regional works and give credit where it is due. The Heroine and Other Stories does not include his most celebrated Agni Pravesham, but still offers many examples of the nature of Jayakanthan's fiction. Predominantly set in Tamil Nadu, it's a world inhabited by ordinary women living non-descriptive lives but suddenly discovering what's extraordinary about themselves in an overwhelming moment of crisis. To begin with, The Heroine, the first short story in the collection, we have Madhuram, the doting, unquestioning wife of our hero, the flamboyant, reckless Sitaraman. Though a father of two, every morning he spends a good amount of time in his vanity, grooming himself. Madhuram only needs to discover her husband's relationship with a colleague, and she firmly shows him the door. And Kamala, the husband's lover, is stunned by illiterate Madhuram's resolute response and determination, which gives her confidence. Kamala too decides to break up with her selfish lover to lead a respectful and independent life. It is aptly titled The Heroine, and I would say it's written quite ahead of its time. There are conflicted women characters who break the threads of patriarchy either by revolt or realization, and one such character is Kunjamal from New Horizon, yet another quintessential Jayakanthan's protagonist. When faced with the tough challenge of having to choose between accepting her daughter's relationship with Venu and family honor, Kunjamal picks the former. Her daughter Indu has been confined to a single room for 4 years for the sin of trying to elope, during which period they haven't spoken. But the mother and daughter hug each other before Kunjamal sends her with Venu. Kunjamal knew that this decision will create turmoil in her life and family, but she stands her ground. When her husband Ramabhadran collapses on hearing this, she tries to comfort her mother-in-law, all the while holding her Mangal Sutra in silent prayer, as any woman of her generation might have done. Not only her, Jayakanthan's all women characters display these inherent contradictions, which women often find themselves caught in during changing times. While some stories portray courage, others portray vulnerability and humanity in various dimensions. Perhaps his skill lay in identifying and articulating what lies within all humans. A similar contradiction also manifests within young Catherine in the story Crucifixion. While traveling in a bus, she notices a fellow passenger looking at her. She immerses herself in reading Bible to avoid thoughts considered sinful about the young man. Torn between her commitment to Christ and her feelings for a young man in the bus, Catherine confesses that her biggest sin was growing up as a nun. In Radha, who is the protagonist of the story The Pervert, the contradiction is subtle and almost breezy. Having been with cowardly men who came to her at dark and vanished at daybreak, Radha finds that 35-year-old confirmed abstinent Dr. Raghavan more masculine while he seeks her pardon for inadvertently awakening futile desires in her. In a generation where women are still harassed and abused, I'm amazed at how gently the author has portrayed the problems of women and the social pressures they face, despite growing up in times where women were nothing more than cooking and baby-making machines. In these stories, while exploring human emotions in both raw and complex forms through divergent characters and circumstances, we see his men wavering between overwhelming authority and overpowering guilt, and women going from unquestioning submission to silent assertion of their rights. In the process, many things change about the people, and the women in particular stand out. To me, Jayakanthan's men seem more vulnerable, like the policeman in Pole Bearers, who struggles to break the news of a child killed in a road accident, and also the character in Beyond Cognizance, who misses the train after offering alms to a beggar, and that train meets with an accident. In both these stories, Jayakanthan takes the reader through an intense mental journey, sparking several important questions and thoughts in the process. Then there are men like Raman in The Guilty, who wallows in inexpressible guilt after forcing a young man who is his neighbor to move from the house opposite his because he suspects him of having lustful eyes for his young second wife Janaki. The one thing I felt was that JK could have been kinder to his male characters as they have been depicted either as weak or succumbing to pleasures. There are some extraordinary women and men in these stories. Women who are not afraid to throw a man out of the house when betrayed, women who stand by one another against an autocratic man in the family and reduce him to pulp, women who can wail for the dead child of another, men who can cry ashamedly, and also men who can define friendships. This collection absolutely presents the range of JK's writing from a different perspective. Each story sensitively explores situations in the lives of both marginalized and middle class, delves deep into the depths of the human psyche, revealing the hidden strengths ordinary people find within themselves when faced with extraordinary circumstances. Deepalakshmi's heart understood JK for what he was and has chosen these stories for their nuances, for their themes and subtleties that can never fade away over time. The essence of these alluring stories hasn't been lost in translation. Very competently translated, not straying away from the original and not getting caught in just the words of the original. The stories come alive even today as much as the original Tamil ones, which belong to a different period but are relevant for all times. The novelet Masquerade is divided into 4 parts and stands out for its uniqueness where Veeran, the petty thief, becomes an unlikely hero. It again showcases how, given a chance, anyone would yield to temptation and turn a thief. Not only this, the author has beautifully put forth women's perspectives from all dimensions. Especially the self-talk of his women characters is incredibly authentic and relatable. For at times, I forgot that the narrator is a male. Be it motherhood, a lovable wife, or a lover, the author has nailed it. I would highly recommend this book if you love to read impactful stories. Also, Don't skip the eloquent foreword to this book by another Tamil feminist writer Ambai. Hope you like my review. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple, please do rate and review our show. And you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube to share your comments and book suggestions, or write to me at BooksDotCom-Insightful@gmail.com. Thank you for staying tuned till the end. See you in the next episode of Books.com. Till then, sayonara.